You've heard of China. You've heard of Texas. But what if I told you the real battle for Bitcoin wasn't happening in Silicon Valley or Shanghai, but in the vast, wind-swept plains of Kazakhstan? This is the untold story of how a Central Asian nation became one of the most powerful forces in crypto, almost overnight. Bitcoin mining is a global game, and geography, infrastructure and politics matter more than you'd think. Kazakhstan may not be the first place you associate with crypto innovation, but it quietly became one of the largest Bitcoin mining hubs in the world. With cheap electricity, freezing temperatures and a lot of empty space, it offered the perfect home for energy-hungry ASIC machines. But this isn't just a story about technology, it's a story about power, in every sense of the word. Welcome to Crypto Historian, where the past is encrypted and the truth is worth mining. Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country in the world by land area, and one of the most sparsely populated. That means plenty of space for industrial operations, especially in rural areas where land is cheap and temperatures are low. It also has legacy infrastructure from the Soviet era, old power plants, grid systems, and factory buildings that were just waiting to be repurposed. But the biggest draw, dirt-cheap electricity. In some areas, energy costs were as low as 3 cents per kilowatt hour, among the cheapest on Earth. That's the lifeblood of profitable Bitcoin mining. Combine that with political stability at the time, tax incentives, and a government hungry for foreign investment, and you had the perfect storm. In mid-2021, China shocked the crypto world by banning Bitcoin mining. At the time, over 50% of global mining was happening within China's borders. Practically overnight, that hash rate vanished and miners were forced to flee. Many chose the United States, others went to Russia. But a large chunk, especially those with connections in the region, headed straight to Kazakhstan. By the end of 2021, Kazakhstan had risen to the hash 2 position globally in Bitcoin hash rate, second only to the US. It was responsible for over 18% of the network's computing power. Bitcoin didn't stop. It just changed its address. What followed was a mining boom. Foreign firms partnered with local businesses. Chinese mining giants leased warehouse space. Kazakh entrepreneurs offered electricity access and land. Even small towns saw new economic activity from the sudden influx of crypto infrastructure. At its peak, Bitcoin mining became a multi-billion-dollar industry in Kazakhstan. New jobs, new money, and new attention. The government initially embraced the opportunity. It promised oversight, taxation, and eventual regulation. But in the meantime, it let the money flow. Kazakhstan was called the Wild West of Bitcoin mining. Wide open, high reward and moving fast. But every gold rush has its crash. By late 2021, Kazakhstan began suffering major energy shortages, blackouts in cities, grid instability and skyrocketing demand. Unregistered so-called grey miners were drawing more power than expected. Infrastructure couldn't keep up, and public sentiment turned. In January 2022, widespread protests erupted, sparked by rising fuel prices but exacerbated by economic inequality and blackouts. As tensions rose, the government cracked down. It implemented strict regulations, electricity rationing, and began shutting down unlicensed operations. Many miners packed up again, this time headed to the US, Canada, or Eastern Europe. Kazakhstan had gone from boom town to bottleneck in under 12 months. So where does Kazakhstan stand today? It's no longer the Wild West, but it's still in the game. The country now ranks in the top 5 globally for Bitcoin hash rate. The government has implemented a formal licensing system, a tax structure based on energy use, and is experimenting with green mining and even state-regulated crypto exchanges. Mining hasn't disappeared. It's just become more measured, more regulated, and more deliberate. Kazakhstan's crypto identity is evolving, from frontier to framework. Kazakhstan's rise and stumble in the Bitcoin mining world tells us a lot. Bitcoin follows opportunity, not ideology, not geography. It moves where energy is cheap, governments are open, and infrastructure exists. But it also teaches us the risks of scaling too fast without stability, and what happens when tech ambition collides with real-world power grids. Kazakhstan showed us that Bitcoin isn't just a network. It's a force that reshapes geopolitics, economics, and energy policy. You've been watching Crypto Historian, where the past is encrypted and the truth is worth mining.